Hey, it's Jason from Bohemia Bees, and in this video we're going to talk about the Apimaye Nuc and how we use it to make multiple queens or multiple colonies. How to do an easy split right in your apiary. Stay tuned, you don't want to miss this one because you can make more bees, and why not have free bees? Stay tuned. Okay, so we have a cart that we've been working on where we've gotten some new equipment in that we've used, and we've got another video we're working on to talk more about that equipment. It's the Apimaye equipment. It's a unique type of equipment. As you can see in the back apiary, we have different style, typically wooden colonies and various other setups, as well as in our pollination cart we have back here. We've taken this pollination cart and we'll do a different video about the pollination cart itself. So stay tuned on that. You don't want to miss that one. I'll put a link in the description below, or I'll refer to it at some point over the next coming weeks when we can finish up that video. But I'm going to talk about the Apimaye Nuc. This is a product that uses the Apimaye technology, which is a polymer hive that has a cavity within the actual polymer frame of the hive body, and that allows for really good insulation on the colony. I'm not going to get into the description of how these hives work too much because we have another video we're going to talk about unboxing and how they work, but I'm going to show you how you can easily make bees, free bees, or basically make a colony for redundancy purposes. Redundancy? What is redundancy? Well, it's all part of having a sustainable apiary. Most beekeepers that start out with a new apiary have a few hives, 2 or 3 hives to start with, mainly 2, just so they can compare and use resources from one another to learn. But once you've established an apiary where you have multiple colonies like we do in various types of settings, you want to make sure that you create a process and where you create redundancy. Redundancy creates sustainability within your apiary. You don't want to have to buy bees. Buying bees can get expensive. Equipment's expensive. The whole hobby is expensive. So we've taken a way to have these nucs that we've purchased from Apimaye. We're setting them up in a different test that I mentioned earlier we're going to talk about in another video. But in this video, we're going to get into this hive, and I'm going to show you how I'm going to take this nuc and I'm going to turn it into 2 colonies. Let's get inside the hive. Okay, so you can see on these nucs, they have 2 entrances, a green and a yellow. The other good thing is if I'll peek back to these back here, you can see they have an entrance on the back as well. I can get myself around here. It's also green and yellow, but it looks like the back of those hives where they have 2 entrances. Okay, so we really have 4 entrances or 6 entrances on the Apimaye hive. The sliders at the bottom, and the 2 dials on the front, and the 2 dials on the back. What you're going to do is you're going to inspect your colony. You need a really strong colony that's queenless. So about a week ago, or more than about 9 days ago, we took a queen out of this colony. So it naturally, reaction is going to take good solid eggs on day 3, and it's going to start to build out queen cells. Let's take a look inside to see if they built queen cells. All right, so we're inside our hive, and you can see this is still a fairly strong colony. We have approximately brood across most of these stages of frames, as well as a good amount of honey. There's a lot of resources in here, and you want both. You want resources, and you want lots of bee volume to help build good queen cells. If they have an egg, like I said, on day 3 of that egg being laid, they're going to take and they're going to turn it, and they recognize they're queenless. They're going to take that and they're going to start to build a queen cell. Let's go ahead and pull this first frame out of the side, and it's probably a resource frame, but you never know, so you want to be very careful when you pull them out. And let's take a look at it. You can see this frame right here has got some capped honey at the top, some uncapped honey, and then they haven't really drawn the comb out on that side. So we're going to take this frame and we're going to set it to the side. Why are we going to do that? It's because we're going to use it for another colony, because we're going to do something different in this colony. It looks like it's the same on both sides. Moving into the next frame, you can see there's a good bee volume on this frame. And what do we see on this side but a wonderful looking queen cell? Look at that queen cell. Right there in the center with lots of bees around it, lots of resources for them to feed it. And then we're going to take a look at the other side as well, because I believe there are cells on the other side too. Oh, there's a couple cells right there. One nice big peanut right there. Okay. So this is a good candidate frame to leave in the colony with cells on it. Okay, let's go to the next frame. When we look at the next frame, this is a very heavy one. I can feel the weight on this. Now this one must have not had a lot of eggs because you can see it has a lot of pollen in the middle. Look at the whole center is filled with pollen. And the actual top corners and edges are the nectar. This is a very good resource frame. It's probably one of the best resource frames that you can see in a colony. It's got lots of pollen, lots of capped honey. I don't know what's on the other side, so let's take a look at the other side. Looks like the same thing. So we're going to take this one, and I'm going to put this on the outside of what I'm trying to do here, because I want those resources to stay with that frame of cells where that actual brood and the cell is on. So we're going to leave that one. Now let's take a look at the next frame. What I expect to see is in the center of the brood's nest, I expect to see, there we go, look at that. Wonderful looking, some cells in the middle. And the difference between this cell and another queen cell we would call as a supersedure cell versus a swarm cell. Now, this is not an exact science, but when you look at a supersedure cell, it's sort of in the middle. It's supersedure just really means replacement of, or replacement. I don't know if it's the exact translation, but that's really what it means to me, is the replacement of an existing queen. A swarm cell would be in the bottom of the frame down here, where they're getting ready to swarm, where they don't have enough room in their cavity, and they need to create another queen in order to swarm. Let's take a look at this side of the frame, see what they have over here. Good pollen. Okay, real good pollen. So pollen and queen cells. So right now, for recap, we got queen cells here, we got really good resources here, and we have queen cells here. Let's go ahead and pull this next one out. We got another queen cell right there. Okay, and pollen resources. Looks like they're going a little bit pollen bound for a while there. There we go. So resources and pollen. And then I'm looking on this frame over here, and I noticed some queen cells as well. Look at that. Some queen cells right there. And then you got resources, and then if we look down, it's resources on that last frame. So really, this colony is equally divided in its distribution of queen cells, eggs, or not eggs, but distribution in queen cells, as well as resources. So I'm going to make an even split here. This is just an easy way to do this. Take and push that to the side. I want to take and put a little bit more bees. Well, I'll tell you what. There are still some resources out there, some foragers out there. So we're going to take this frame and tap it off. Set it to the side. And then we're going to take the division board. This is the piece of the equipment that comes with the nuc that you should be able to use. The division board allows you to separate a colony into different entrances. You want to be very careful with this division board though, because these spinners that you see here, if they're just the normal way out of the box, they spin very, very easily. And you have a closed setting, a queen excluder setting, which means that worker bees can come and go between the sides, and then you have a vent setting. And I want to utilize the heat of the colony to keep the brood warm and allow these to continue to transmit back and forth while the queen is going out and getting mated. So I'm going to do that, but once I know that the queen cells are going to emerge when they're capped, we're going to shut this to a closed setting. And the way you would do that is always take a little bead of wax and plug it up. So this way it doesn't spin. You see now it's tight, it doesn't spin. And we're going to do the same thing here. Because again, we have capped queen cells, which means that in the next few days, those cells are going to probably emerge out. And we're going to try to tell the colony to make multiple queens here. So I have both of those closed on the division board. All three are closed. And I'm going to slide that between the tracking that you see right here in this hive. Drop it straight down. So now I have two separate divided colonies. And the last thing is everyone remembers when they close their hive up, what do I always say? Tighten center. That's right, tighten center. So they make good tighten center. Gives them the proper bee space. Let's go ahead and now make the division. And if you remember, a lot of the bees are on this left side, a lot of bees. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to brush away from the entrance the bees that are down here, and I'm going to close off this side. so that when the, oops, caught a bee in there, uh-oh, close this off. So now they only can come in this entrance, the foragers, because there were less bees over here than over here. There's a lot of bees over here, less bees over here. And I want to kind of equalize the amount of bees. The ones that are hanging out over here will figure it out, eventually go into this entrance. The next thing I want to do is I want to come around and open up the back entrance back here so that they begin to orient into that side. Let's take a look. Okay, you can see I opened up now the yellow entrance out back. So then the ones on the yellow side are going to be now leaving and coming and going from the opposite side of this hive, opposite. Okay, and I left the green closed on the back side so that the entrance that they're using in the front is what they'll use for that side. Again, if we're looking at it from the front of the hive, the bees will use the green entrance to come and go on the right side, and the bees will begin to use the yellow entrance on the back side once they come and go there. So when our queens emerge, this is critical, ladies and gentlemen, when the queens emerge, the queen on the right side will emerge out and leave this direction, and they will go this direction towards me. The queen on this side will leave that direction and go that direction to mate. They will go to a drone congregation area as they typically do. They will mate and they will come back. Now, we'll have to check on these probably within a week to ensure that the brood levels and the bee volume is still where it needs to be. If we have to introduce more bees, we will, but we have to be also cautious to ensure that we have a virgin queen there. You don't want to disturb her when a virgin queen comes out and she's moving around. You want to let her chitin, as they call it, or their exoskeleton harden. You want to let them get acclimated to the bees on the one side. But both of these sides are both queenless. They both have queen cells, but we're about to allow one queen to come and go one way and one queen to go another way. Okay, so we've done what we wanted to do with the split on an Apimaye Nuc. We're going to wait approximately 14 days, 10 to 14 days to come back to see if we have a mated queen. We got to give them enough time for those queen cells that we saw in there to emerge out, go out their respective entrances and come back and start to lay. One thing we may also do is we may come back and put some more brood in here just to stabilize the volume. But for the most part, I think we're comfortable with where they're at, and we're hoping to get a queen to come back mated and have two queens instead of one being mated out of those several frames of queen cells that we have in this queenless colony. I hope you enjoyed watching what we do here at Bohemia Apiary. We really like to test new products. We like the Apimaye equipment. Again, we're going to do a video on that specifically in the future. But this is just a way that you can take this Apimaye Nuc and make out of one hive, one queenless hive really with some queen cells, into two potential opportunities. Now, if for some reason one of these queens don't return, we have the other side. You can pull that division board back, or you can turn those dials to an introduction board where the bees can get acclimated to that one queen, pull that out, merge them together, and it's like an insurance policy. So if you have these nucs, I would suggest you try this. It's just a great way to turn, again, one colony into two, and also give you that insurance policy. So again, appreciate everyone watching, supporting. Please comment below if you have any suggestions on how we could do this differently or how you've done it differently with these Apimaye Nucs. And we'll go ahead and we love comments. We love the support. But subscribe to the channel if you haven't subscribed yet, or just hit the like, or just really show us your love, because we really love to grow this channel and we need your support to do that. In order for us to continue to do videos like this and share our experiences in the apiary, we need the support of the community. So like, comment, share, and subscribe. And come back and see us again on another video here at Bohemia Apiary, where beekeeping is definitely more than a hobby. It's an obsession. Thanks for watching, everyone.